I'm so happy, happy-go-lucky me. I just go my way, living every day. I don't worry.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the show. Greetings and welcome to another episode of the Hobbesy Horror Screamcast Bros, where I, the titular Hobbesy, and my good buddy over yonder, RJ, will traipse and romp through the horror film du jour. This is season 1, episode 12? 12. The finale.
Finale.
I don't know how I forgot 12, but I know it's the finale. But hey RJ, how you doing, buddy? How you feeling?
Well, I just wanted to put in there, like, I do like how every time we've done every episode we've done, every time you introduce me, nobody can see it, but I always do a wave.
For the
I don't know why.
for the audio medium, we
Exactly, yeah.
One day we'll be big shots and we'll be in a room together and we'll have a camera, I guess. Maybe.
Oof.
We'll see.
The far, far distant future.
Oh, yes. One day down the line, as the prophecy foretold.
When the dementia kicks in, we forget what we're doing.
That's every day. What? Tonight's episode of the podcast is sponsored by ginger ale and coffee and Coke, a cola.
You always got to put that end part on there because nobody will ever be like,
Is it brand Coca-Cola or is this like a Minnesota Coke?
No, it's a Cherry Coke Zero.
Okay. Take the zero off.
I gotta watch the calories.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, how you doing, bud? Here on this auspicious evening.
Doing good.
We are we're recording a little later than usual, because we're kind of squeezing.
Excuse the yawns if they don't get cut out.
Boy, howdy, there might be some real hard yawns on the recording tonight. But yes, we're squeezing this in where we can get it right now, so we can get this last episode recorded and done. It will air sometime in November. So if you're listening, happy November. It
should be the Monday after Halloween. No, if I did my mathing right.
The last episode that we recorded should be the Monday after Halloween, right?
Oh yeah.
So this one's going to be.
So this would be like middle of November.
Yeah.
Oh man, I am not mathing very well. I apologize.
It's okay. It's okay. We've done a lot of these, and there's been some space in them lately. You know, we're getting them. We're in our groove. But the one thing that stays consistent is, future days don't get counted correctly, all the time, always, because we never know. But yeah. I'm feeling pretty good myself, pretty jazzed to be here. I'm on a wired, tired kick because I've had my coffee, and it is past my normal bedtime because I'm old and I also work very early hours. I think we're ready to get it going, get it underway. We watched Silent Hill for this finale. Thoughts and feelings on it. We'll just go ahead and we'll get into our little thoughts and feelings before production notes. How did you feel about this film, and what is your experience with it? I know we kind of discussed a little while watching.
So yeah, I think if I am counting correctly, I think tonight was the third time I've ever seen this movie. And for whatever reason, I did not remember liking this movie at all. But then watching it tonight, I'm like just kind of watching and semi-analyzing. I'm like, it's actually a really good movie. And I guess I gotta throw this little disclaimer in here. As excited as I have always been about Silent Hill and the characters and all that stuff from Silent Hill, Pyramid Head, never played the games.
Yeah. I mean,
I played a whole 10 minutes of the first one, got lost, and never played it again. So I don't know where my love of Silent Hill came from, but because it definitely didn't come from the games.
Do you remember what age you were playing the game at?
Oh, it was when it came out, so I had to have been 10, 11, because game came out in 99. Yeah, so it was not too long after it came out, maybe the same year it came out.
Right on, right on. I feel like I
And
definitely played it after the fact, at least some small period after the fact. But yeah, I am not. Maybe I am ashamed to admit it. I don't know. I kind of felt a little bit of something in my chest there that might have been shame or a stroke, one of the two. Uh, I don't have a lot of experience with the games either. I played some of the first one enough to get up into the school, and I mean, I was a kid at that point as well, and not as versed and resilient to hard games. Um, and I played part of The Room, and that's really my only like game wise experience with Silent Hill. Everything else has come from falling asleep to lore videos on the subject.
I think that's where I got a lot of my information about Silent Hill was more from like internet clips and stuff like that because
Right,
like I said, I don't think I ever played the second one. I know I played like 10 minutes of the first one, but I knew of the characters and sort of the story more from like internet
right.
than firsthand experience.
Definitely. A lot of all of my knowledge of the games came from external sources for all intents and purposes. With the first game, I didn't play completely through it, but I had an uncle who I hung out with quite a lot who played through it in its entirety. So I did see it from beginning to end. Just don't have that hands-on experience, but still love the series, love the lore behind it. And I guess I've seen the film quite a few times. I'd say probably maybe at least a dozen times over the years. I know when it first came out, I liked it a lot because I was a dumb youth and I was just really hyped about, oh, this thing that I find interesting is being made into a movie and maybe it won't suck. Uh, I don't know about everybody else, but I know a lot of people historically, video game movies have not been great for them.
They have
Uh,
not been good.
we're living in like kind of a strange modern age where we have a good Super Mario Brothers and a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, a trilogy.
I don't know how they keep pumping out Sonic movies because I remember the controversy of how Sonic looked originally and then how he actually looked when the movie came out. And I watched the first Sonic movie.
It's the power of the fan
Never haven't
base.
seen any of the other ones, but I don't know how they keep pumping those out
I
because
I like it.
I haven't really heard too many people actually liking them besides you just now.
I know a lot of people who like the Sonic films, but yeah, no,
Wow.
I like them. I'm excited for the third. I look
I've
forward.
only seen the first one. It was okay.
I watched the first. I watched the second by myself one day because I was bored and alone and was just like, fuck it, I'm watching Sonic. Uh,
I
but yeah,
did like the Mario movie though. The Mario movie was good.
Mario movie was
A
good.
lot of nostalgia.
Yeah, they played heavy on nostalgia. They had a lot in there for the grown-ups in the audience. It was good. The stupid fucking Peaches
And
song was stuck in my head
hey, whoa,
forever,
whoa,
forever.
whoa.
And
Good song.
it didn't help that my partner would just start singing it at random before I'd even seen the movie.
Good song.
It was stuck in my head before I'd even witnessed it. But yeah, but yeah, we live in like this modern age of good video game films. When back in the day we had, I don't know how you feel about Street Fighter. I don't know if you ever saw Street Fighter. It was all right.
Oh man, that is a movie I think I've only seen once. It was a long
Right.
time ago.
We had Street Fighter, we had Mortal Kombat, we had Super Mario Brothers
Yo,
OG
I
film.
liked the Mortal Kombat movies. I know they were terrible acting, terrible CGI, terrible everything, but that movie is good, damn it.
True. I like the original. I like the old school Super Mario Bros. Movie. I know it wasn't Super Mario. Nothing about it was really Super Mario except the names. But I thought it was a rad fucking dystopian kind of semi-cyberpunk type film. I had fun with it. I still have fun with it. I've watched it recently enough. Um, anyway, on you mentioned poor acting. Let's jump back to Silent Hill. Um, a film that we ultimately really do enjoy, and that hits the nail on the head in all departments except just acting. Do you have any more gush to go off of here?
Not really, because we'll probably get more into that when we actually dive into the film.
Yeah, I'm sure we have enough to say going throughout this. We'll go ahead and hop into production then real quick and just get it out of the way. Pardon me. Ooh. I almost said 2026's holy shite. 2006's Silent Hill. Directed by Christoph Gans, written by Roger Avery, and produced by Samuel Hadida and Don Carmody. Sorry, Don. I'm going to be apologizing to a few people here. Just forewarning. With cinematography by Dan Loston, edited, I got Loston right, editing by Sebastian, it's either Prengere or Prangere. I don't
Both
know,
of them sound
Sebastian.
right.
I'm
We
real
went over
sorry.
this, so like both of them sound right.
Sebastian, you got plenty of accents in your name, sir, and I can only get your first one right. Uh, music done by Jeff Donna, as well as Akira Yamaoka, who is Akira? Is that the composer for the games? I didn't actually go back and
It
check
might
that,
be
but I think that's
because,
the case.
yeah, I was gonna say when we get to the little fun facts here in a minute, it might be from the games.
I was going to say we can mention that now, even just to intersperse it.
Yeah, because in the movie, the music in the movie, besides Johnny Cash's Ring of Fire, fucking classic.
Mhm.
The music in the movie actually comes from the game series, which I thought was really really cool. And you can tell just by watching the movie, it's like if you played survival horror, you knew all of you knew all the music, and when
100%.
like the save points were coming up and all of that just by hearing the music alone.
It was a lot of iconic toning, and you can tell that a lot of knowledge went into the film itself.
Yeah, because
Just
I know one thing I think we both read actually is the director was his name Christoph?
yeah, Christoph
Yeah,
Gans.
Christoph Gans. He tried like hell for what was it, 5 years to get this movie into production, and then what finally did it was like I think he like not pleaded, but I think he had like wrote some kind of a letter or something to the makers of the game saying how much of a fan he was and please, please, please let me do this movie.
Right, like little interview process. Just big fan of this. This is what we want to do with it. And there was mention of the deconstruction of an IP and the reconstruction into something new and whatnot. I forget the quote off of it, but I just read it a little bit ago there. Um, but yeah, it's you can musically, oh, it's so perfectly done. A lot about this movie is fantastic. But anyway, jumping back, we can go into the starring section. This film stars Sean Bean in a role he doesn't die in for once. Rhoda Mitchell, Laurie Holden, Deborah Kara Unger, Kim Coates, Tanya Allen. You said Kim Coates was Gucci, right?
Yes,
Love
that's
that.
Detective Gucci.
Detective Thomas
You heard that
Gucci.
right, folks. Detective Gucci.
Gucci gang. Uh, where were we? I'm so sorry. Tanya Allen, Alice Krieg, Jodelle Furland, and that was it. The film had a $50 million budget and pulled 100.6 million at the box office, making 20 million in its U.S. opening release and grossing 46 million in the U.S. Uh, with the other just about half being made up in the global market. It saw release on April 21st of 2006, and as always, based on the game, uh, loosely on the game. That was released on February 24th, 1999. Thinking about that, holy hell.
So, some of the little fun facts I found on this.
Yeah, yeah.
So the nurses, which if anybody's played the game, the nurses are pretty iconic. The way they actually filmed their movement was they had them walking backwards and then ran the film in reverse, and that's how they got their kind of disturbing, like cryptic movement, because that scene is really, really
It's
good.
really good. Yeah.
And then a lot of the creatures in the movie were actually played by dancers because they were flexible enough to actually make all the weird movements that that the creatures actually make in the movie. And then one last one, Roberto Capanella. Really hope I said that right because I'm way worse at butchering names than you are.
Sorry, Roberto.
Played Yeah, exactly. He played Pyramid Head in the movie. He actually wore 15-inch heels to make him appear he was 7 feet in the movie, which I thought that was kind of interesting. And I'm not gonna lie, as we're watching the movie, I kept trying to see if they had any shot of his feet at all to see these 15-inch heels.
There were no
They
pyramid
do not.
fees. No. Uh, we were looking this time. Um, yeah, the 15-inch heels is crazy, but the fact that it's to make him close to 7 feet tall is even crazier because he's kind of a short, stocky fella, isn't he?
Yeah, because that's close to a foot and a half, so,
Right?
or no, over. Yeah.
I could be pyramid head. I just don't got the big, sweet, muscular dad bod going on. Don't got all that
And
sweet fucking cake. Sorry, continue.
I'm just gonna I'm just gonna get this out of the way now. I guess apologies to Rada Mitchell. I don't like her acting. I,
Uh,
and I think I finally pinpointed out why I am not a fan of her. Is it's just when there are times in a movie when she speaks, it sounds like she's reading a script and not actually being real with it, I guess. But it's just oof, it made it rough on some of the scenes in this movie, I'm not gonna lie. But again, she's probably never gonna watch this. I'm probably never gonna get sued by her. It's fine.
real sorry, Rada. Just if it makes you feel any better, nobody was on point with the acting in this film. Uh, it it was, I don't know how to describe it. Did you feel forced? I don't know.
I
Something
mean, I'm pretty sure we came to the conclusion the little girl is probably the best actor in the whole movie.
that I refuse to agree with that. Sean Bean was the best. That, or I'll give it to
I'm talking
Gucci.
about the little demon, the because it was the same girl that played not only Shan was it
Sharon. Sharon.
Shannon. She played Sharon.
Yeah.
God, I'm so bad with the sh names. Sh so she played her, she played Alyssa, and she played the little demon girl too. Because
Well,
they were all three the
yeah.
same. So yeah, that little girl was the best actor in the whole movie.
Yeah, I guess she had a lot to go on there. No, everyone was just, yeah, it was faked. It all felt fake. It was just, if that were an orgasm, I wouldn't smoke a cigarette afterwards. Like,
There's a way to put it.
there's nothing, there's nothing to it. There's no pop to it. Like, but yes, the acting was real hollow. But everything else was great. I will say, there's a few times the CGI didn't work for me in this film. Um,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I remember one scene in particular.
the Gray Children started out great, and then it just melted into just gross early work
Yeah,
CG.
that was a quick in your notes while we're watching the movie. Man, I really like the CGI. Wait, cross it out, cross it out,
Right.
cross it out within like a 5-10 minute span of the
The
movie.
less than that, because I was in the middle of typing that, my brain just went, oh, you no,
Never mind.
reject. We're not having
There
it.
were some really cool scenes though that we'll get into a little later, but
Yeah, for sure.
because as I'm watching the movie, I'm like, ooh, this might be my favorite scene. Ooh, this one might be my
Huh,
favorite.
right? Yeah, it was hit or miss with it. I think mostly hit because there was some really solid stuff in there, but there was some stuff in there where I was just like, this is ugly and bad, and you should feel bad. If you're gonna fuck it up like this, you could have just used practical effects. They age better. Um, but yeah. Uh, from there, I don't think I really have anything else to go off of unless I'm just gonna keep shit talking the acting, which I'm gonna do plenty of that anyway. Uh,
Probably both will.
yeah, I mean, and there'll be some more gush in there as things click in memory, as we retread what we just watched. But before that, I guess what's the order of things? Is it trailer now?
The trailer.
Sounds great. All right. We'll go ahead and we'll dip into the trailer. I did see this semi recently enough, because
Oh yeah, we got plugged the short.
yes, hi, Hobbesy here. I've been doing a series of shorts, for a fan made, I suppose, TV challenge for the month of September, which we are recording in. Series of shorts playlist on the Hobbesy Horror YouTube. You can go check them out. Where I just do little mini reviews of the films that were on this particular list. And once this list is over, I'm gonna keep it going. I'm gonna keep it going because I kind of feel like I got it at this point. It gets response, but no, having a lot of fun with that. And recently did Silent Hill, so this is a double refresh on the movie.
Yeah, more elaborate little.
Yeah, this is the extensive review. Everybody sucked, but I kind of like it better. But yeah, we can go ahead and hop into it then. You got it ready on your end, sir?
I sure do.
Sweet beans. All right, we'll go ahead and kick it off now.
Honey, sometimes when you go to sleep, you go on a little walk. And sometimes you talk about a place.
I don't remember.
That's why we're gonna go there. So you can remember.
So you might not get that there's bad acting in this from the trailer.
Again, the little girl who plays the little demon, she plays Alessa, and she plays Sharon. Like, they are all three different types of children.
Yeah, they
so,
are.
like, she is the best actor in the whole movie. I'm giving her props.
I accept.
Not
this.
really setting the bar very high with that, but I'm giving her props.
Christopher, Sharon's gone. I need your help. I'm not okay.
I will
Please,
refer you
hurry.
to a series of meows that beg to differ.
Fire started 30 years ago.
That was part of the innocence.
I don't know what's happening. Do you know what's going on here?
This is a really good fake post of a trailer,
Only the dark one opens and closes the door to Silent Hill.
but it just touches all the bases to get a Silent Hill fan's attention.
She looks exactly like Sharon.
Why? Rose, come on! Rose, hurry! It's coming!
Oh, we have established this is just kind of an amalgamation of the lore.
Yeah, it's not really based on any one part of the game, or any game in particular. It's kind of all the games in one, because not actually playing the game, but they have parts from, obviously from the first game, then they have like little things from the second game in there.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, the siren and the, I guess what they call it, the Hell World or whatever, that wasn't in the first game at all, that was in the second. This is a pretty rad trailer, though.
It is a really, it's a really good
Get
trailer.
the little sneak peek of Pyramid Head in there, I like it, I like it.
Yeah, you don't get that, sadly. Yeah, no, but it's a good trailer. I'm not really a fan of trailers that break up the action with too much reading. which maybe sounds a little.
It seems like that's all they do in horror trailers anymore is have like, they'll show a little bit and then they'll have like just words on the screen and then they'll show a little bit more than words on the screen and yeah, I've never been a fan of it.
Right, like I like a build and intensity with like the trailer reader's voice. It's always strong and powerful or real scary. This Friday, like I'm here for that. But yeah, no, it's still a good trailer. There's a lot of very effectively used quiet in it, which may be a thing throughout the film, but we might have been just bullshitting through too much of it to notice. But yeah, good trailer. Good movie, if I haven't said that yet. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it then. Silent Hill 2006 starts out with it's a weird beginning, but right off the rip we get classic Silent Hill music, and it's really short, fuck, I don't know what it would be called, but your production screen goes by really quick, has the killer music. Starting out, we have Rhoda,
Rose.
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 Rose waking up in a bit of a panic, goes to search, finds her daughter missing, Sharon. I don't know how she knows that she's out of the house. Like, it doesn't show necessarily.
I think she has a history of like sleepwalking.
Yeah,
so.
she has the history of sleepwalking. So I guess if she's not in the house, search outside. Don't know how she finds her, but Sharon is standing at a ledge looking down into a retention pond or
Basically
something.
like a waterfall. Kind of like a weird like creek that goes to a cliff
Right.
and down not like a huge waterfall, but like a small little waterfall.
We get a little flash of what she's seeing. I guess it's not really established if it's what she's seeing or if what the hell's going on there. But what Sharon is seeing, peering down into the hellmouth, with Alessa looking back up at her, mumbling to herself precariously on the ledge before Rose tackles her to the ground and effectively rescues her, quote unquote. I'm curious as to why she's getting summoned to a cliffside. If they need her, were they going to kill her, or was it strictly to get Rose's attention?
Let's just get their attention so she could scream Silent Hill over and over again until she's like, finally, fine, shut up, I'll take you kind of situation.
I mean, and there's a jump in between.
Yeah, I didn't realize
ending
there's
of that too.
This is saying there's a 2-year jump. Did they say there's a 2-year jump?
It doesn't.
I definitely missed that.
I don't believe it says in the movie at any point that there is a 2-year jump. You just get this jump. Like, I didn't know it was 2 years. So
yeah, it literally went from she's about ready to fall off a cliff to, hey, we're all sunny and under a tree and giggling and drawing pictures.
In the middle of a kidnapping.
You can't kidnap your own kid.
Hey, listeners, write into the show, hobbesy4@gmail.com.
Please,
Can you
email
kidnap
us,
your own
comment,
child?
Hit us up on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Can you kidnap your own child? Because
I'm personally on the side that yes, you can kidnap your own child if it's one parent taking the child forcefully from another without saying.
It's called a surprise trip.
A surprise trip. But yes, 2 years kind of makes sense. I can see how things might boil over then, because you get this jump from cliffside, the family hugging and, we're going to take care of this. We're going to figure it out. We're going to sort it out, to the sunny under the tree, awkward meowing after drawing a family picture or whatever. Finding out that, oh, hey, they're on their way to Silent Hill, and she's getting a phone call that she ignores, which you can just assume that it's the husband, Sean Bean, who I already forgot his character's name. Chris? Mike?
Chris.
It was Chris. That's right. Okay.
Yes. I just remember Detective Gucci saying, "Nice to meet you, Chris."
Nice to
That's
meet you,
all I
Chris.
remember. That's how I remember his name.
Thank you, Gucci. You're saving
Just
the
because
show
it's
right
Thomas
now.
Gucci.
Right. Gucci saves the day. Um, but yeah, you can only assume it's a call from Chris. She ignores it, um, packs it up, gets the daughter in the car, and they're off on the road again. In a flash over to Chris trying to call and getting sent to voicemail. Rose is really bad about covering her tracks. I don't know what.
Like I said, can you call it a kidnapping if you're leaving clues?
I mean,
She left
yeah.
a big major clue on the laptop.
Look,
I'm just
man,
saying.
criminals can be bad at being criminals. Like, I don't. You can leave your fingerprints. You can leave a little semen on the scene or something. I don't know, man, but like, it is what it is. But what drew him to look at the laptop to begin with? I'm not sure, unless it was just it being on.
It's probably her laptop.
Right? Maybe, I don't know. He probably. Shit's wild. Anyway, so yeah, we get the definite. He doesn't know what's happening. She's taken the daughter to go to Silent Hill. But we get none of what happens in between it that led up to this, unless it was just a whole lot of neglect and putting off and false promises on Chris's part.
It's probably her. It's probably her wanting to take her there, though, because even like a little later in well, actually, this next little scene when she goes to pump gas, he cancels the credit card because he knows she's on, on the move and all that. And she talks to him on the phone, and he's saying she needs to be hospitalized, and she's like, "No, we need to take her to this town," and all of that. So I think that's probably like why it took the 2 years from her trying to jump off a cliff to them actually going to Silent Hill.
Right.
It's just them disagreeing on what to actually do.
Yeah, entirely fair. I mean, they still love each other. It's not like they were, going to get divorced over it. But yeah, moving into that next part, with the gas station, we get our first introduction of Sybil, played by Laurie Holden, who is a very tough guy cop lady.
Very nosy.
Who is also extremely frickin' nosy. Like, she jumped on the assumption train very quickly to...
Yeah. Yeah. She went immediately to like this little girl's kid.
Right. Clearly,
like
this
I said, you
child is
can't
in
kidnap
danger.
your own kid, but immediately he goes to like this little girl is in trouble, and she goes up to the little girl, and the little girl's like, I don't talk to strangers.
Don't talk to strangers. Right? Like, smart fucking kid. But yeah, as you mentioned, the credit cards are canceled. They have this little conversation. She's like, "Fuck it, I'm going." Tells off the
She
cop
never
on
did
her
pay
way.
for the gas, by the way.
Yeah, no, it
She
didn't
never
happen.
paid for the gas in front of a cop.
Maybe
that's why the cop was
that's
pulling her
why,
over.
right? Like, maybe, I thought she was just being kind of a bitch, but maybe there was a reason. Maybe she stole the gas. But yes, they get down the line, and Sybil pulls up behind him on her motorcycle, hits the sirens and the lights, and there's a lot of swerving in the middle of the road. You made mention of that while we were watching, on both parts, which eventually leads to a pullover that doesn't go well. What triggers the run? Is it just she gets off the bike, and as she's approaching,
I think
she
it's because
takes
she
off?
gets off the bike and starts walking up to the car. She realizes it's the same cop.
Right.
So I think that then she just like kind of guns it to try
Or
to lose the cop, even though it does not work
it
at
doesn't.
all.
Like, she doesn't get very far. You can still hear the sirens in the background as she bursts through the gate to cross the bridge into what is not Silent Hill, but Silent Hill. A little bit further
Kind of
down
like
the
the
road.
road leading into Silent Hill.
Yeah, you got to get a little bit further up the road to hit Silent Hill. And this is where we get our first introduction to Alessa, though maybe we don't know it at this point, as a small framed figure walks out into the road, causing Rose to hit the brakes and crank the wheel and do a 360,
Do a little spinneroonie.
right? It's seeing it in the trailer. I didn't see it in the film. Maybe I just missed it. I wasn't paying attention, but like the car passing through Alessa and getting that little like ghost vapor swoosh
Yeah,
I thought
I
that
didn't
was really
notice that
cool
in the
when I
movie
saw
either,
it.
but I did notice it in the trailer too.
Right. Seeing it in the trailer, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't notice that. So probably something we just missed in the process of the film. But yes, we get a not a crash because nothing is hit as I was
Except for her
trying.
head.
Yeah, except her head. As I was trying to argue where the are the airbags.
Car never hit anything.
You were right. Car never hit anything, so they wouldn't have deployed. But her head hits the steering wheel like she hit a fucking brick wall. Um, knocked the fuck out. Only to wake up after a period to realize that I almost called her Rose Sharon is missing. And everything is very foggy. And as she soon finds
And
out, is
that's not
also
a
very ashy.
that's not a concussion joke either. It really is foggy.
It's really foggy. Yeah, the concussion is probably definitely there. Yeah. But she gets out of the car. It starts moving up the road. Right? She hasn't made it. She doesn't go into the town first before coming back and finding the pictures.
No, she well, she sees no, yeah, she goes into the town. That's where she sees like a figure, like a little girl that looks just like Sharon,
Right.
and chases
Gets
after her
pursuing.
because she saw the Welcome to Silent Hill and she walks into it, and then when she comes back to the car, that's when she sees all the drawings
Right. I
that
couldn't remember
Sharon
if
made.
she actually got into the town and
Yeah,
the
she went into
pursuit
the
was
town
first.
first. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So pursuing the Sharon looked like the Alessa, as it were.
Yeah, because that's when she starts going downstairs, and that's when we hear
It's when we get the
the
first
siren
shift.
for the first
Yeah.
time, which I'm not gonna lie, was pretty cool.
That was really cool. I'm gonna take a look at my notes real quick because I did definitely take some notes.
Oh, that's fun.
Before
Glad somebody
eventually
did.
before eventually giving up. I want to see if there's anything in here that I maybe missed. There was a point where the cam goes into like the rotoscope kind of deal, and it's circling her, and I want to say I hated that shot. It made me kind of nauseous, and it was very jarring and uncomfortable. And that's during the pursuit. I think that's when she goes after she's gone downstairs, or it's while she's going through an alley. I actually forget, but I think it's post turn. I think that's all I actually got in that section, because she has to go. No. The gray children were actually in that section because that's downstairs after everything changes.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was the turnaround real quick. I said the CG in this film goes from good to bad real quick with the gray children, and I mean initially the first sight of them, it was really cool. It was a great effect. But as they are pursuing her and pushing through the door frame and everything, it all really just falls apart and turns into bad CG mush and makes me sad. Because so much of it is done well.
Mhm. Yeah, there's just like a few little exceptions on the CG part.
Yeah, definitely.
This is the part like where the siren goes off, it kind of goes black, and then she's like in what they call the hell world and sees the gray children,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's she kind of like passes out on the floor when the gray children come to attack her. Then they kind of just like kind of disappear. Then
Dissipate.
she wakes. This is where she wakes up, and that's where you hear the one song that's not from the video game series,
Right.
the classic Johnny Cash "Ring of Fire."
I was gonna say I also completely skipped over the fact that she goes back out and is walking, and this is when she first meets Dahlia, right? Before going back to the car.
No, that's after.
Is that after?
That's the part that's the part we're coming up to.
Fuck my whole life. All right. Well, I'm gonna cut some of this out then. But anyway, yeah, no. All right. So she goes back to the car first, after going downstairs after the pursuit, and begins finding the pictures on the ground, which actually leads her back into the car because she realizes there are more following the trail back. She closes herself in.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So when from the gray children, she wakes up and like, well, they're calling it a bowling alley, like with the music playing. And that's when she walks outside, and that's where she runs into Dahlia. And then from Dahlia, she goes back to the car.
Okay, so Dahlia is before going back to the car.
Yes.
Okay. We're all over the place, kids. Okay, then let's rewind a little bit. Then let's rewind a little bit. We'll go back to the introduction of Dahlia, who she meets at the edge of the world, I guess, for lack of better terming. She realizes she can't go any further. Turns around. This mysterious woman's walking through the fog. She asks her if she's seen her daughter. Proceeds to show her locket with with Sharon's picture in it, which Dahlia recognizes as her own daughter. They have a small exchange where Dahlia says, "We've all lost our children," or something of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there are no kids in this. I think Anna's the closest thing to a kid, and she's just like in her 20s and not fully mentally developed, I guess. I don't blame her. Living in hell for the last 30 years will probably do it to you. But yes, Dahlia kind of tries to take the locket, claiming that's her daughter. And we get the overhead of Rose being back towards the edge, which they did a lot with the cameras that were just really good wide shots.
Yeah, because that was one thing I kind of mentioned with like the cameras throughout the movie. It kind of makes it's almost like the old school like survival horror games where it's like the fixed camera, like in Resident Evil or
Yeah,
Silent Hill. You have the fixed camera, and all you see is like your character running, and then you go to like the next like fixed camera. That's they kind of gave that feel
yeah.
in the movie,
There's a
which
lot
I
of it.
really appreciated.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of it. Like it's the little things they did that really gave it the proper feel. But after this, yeah, the introduction of Dahlia, she tosses her down by the cliffside, makes her run for it. Now this is when we get back to the car.
Well, they have the little cut to Chris, like trying to track down Rose and Alyssa at the, or not Alyssa, Sharon at the gas station. Then it cuts back to Rose going back to the car.
There's a chance I'm gonna forget about half the shit that Chris does because we established while watching it they could have cut out pretty much
It
the
is,
entire B plot of Chris and
yeah.
still had like a good solid movie that isn't 2 hours fucking long.
Yeah, so basically the part of like Rose and Sharon is like the game, and then the part with like Chris is more the movie's added on part, right? Would you
Yeah,
say?
yeah.
Because
I
you know
mean,
the
a
game
lot of
better than
it's
I do.
yeah, a lot of it's for effect, really. I mean, uh,
Even though they kind of had the roles reversed, because in the game you're actually playing as the dad looking for Sharon, not.
yeah.
Anyways, we get
Anyway,
sidetracked.
fine. We'll talk about Chris throughout the film as well. Um, okay, so now we get back. Now we get back to Rose getting back to the car, finding pictures on the ground. The first one she picks up is one of flowers, which I don't think has any real meaning. But oh, that brings me. That also brought me to a thought because at the gas station, she asked Sharon why she changed her pictures because she realized the pictures had scribbles and stuff all over them.
Oh yeah, and she kind of did it in her sleep, like her sleepwalking trance or whatever
Right.
you want to call it.
Just to go back on the pictures because since we're finding them now. But these are the first clues, and that's another thing I really liked about what it did because it's another small detail they did. They did it right. The clue finding and point to point, locationing. Not so much in the way of puzzle solving. We didn't get any fun Shakespeare puzzles or anything in the movie, uh, but yeah, and this is when we are also reunited with Officer Sybil, who now is 100% convinced that Rose probably murdered the shit out of her daughter and takes her into custody right then and there.
Well, no, because she even like made a comment like even if that's even your real
If that's
daughter
even your
kind
real
of thing,
daughter,
and I'm
right?
like, You are jumping to conclusions.
Very much so. A lot of bold assumptions. We get a little detail and story on Sybil from herself in this scene, because she does talk about, you know, how a couple years ago guy came up here with some such or another and ended up murdering them and leaving them there, whatnot. As well as some story about her rescuing a child from a ravine or a well or something. I don't know. Timmy fell down something. And she stayed with him for like 3 days until rescue. So maybe Sybil's just got a lot of trauma and is just takes it out on people like that. I don't know. But yeah, she takes Rose into custody and tells her that they're gonna walk back to I forget the name of the town. That
It was like Baramin or start with a B.
something of that nature. It looked like
Yeah.
Brahmin, which is like the cattle from,
I think it
Fallout,
was
but
Brahmin. I think it was
was it
Brahmin.
Brahmin? Something of the nature.
I believe so.
But pretty much tells her we're gonna walk back to town. And from what I saw, they had nothing but maybe like 100 miles of forest all around them at that point. What leads them into town? That has already slipped my mind.
Oh no, because they were walking back and like where the bridge was.
The ledge, right? The end of
And
the
it
world.
was, yeah, the bridge was out. So that's why they basically, and then there's a creature that ends up attacking Sybil, spewing whatever it was that
They
was like burning her helmet and her jacket. And then that's when Rose took the initiative to just bolt
make the run for it.
while,
Yeah.
yeah, while Sybil takes out the monster.
Let's talk about the irrationality of screaming for something with no arms and no discernible ears to stop.
Spewing some like acid,
Right?
some kind of like acid, whatever liquid at her, burning. Yeah, because that's definitely a person.
Yeah. Yeah. Sybil, 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 does this thing look like it takes orders from people? I don't think so. I don't think so, Sybil. What's wrong with you? Yeah, she ends up having to tear off her helmet, uh, unloads an entire magazine into the creature, and then has to rip off her jacket. Rose makes her run for it and dips out of there. From there, but yeah, so she makes her run for it. She gets into the town, and again, it's more of the point to point stuff that I was saying, like that just felt very much like the game itself, because she is reading the map and she is finding her way to the school. Uh, as you mentioned previous, she one of the pictures in the car was of the school, so that gave her her first direction. And we don't get a map necessarily. She's following like a bus line, essentially.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was like a little, yeah, like a little map of like all the street names and all that stuff, and like where the hospital is, and then gets up to Midwich, and that's where the Midwich Elementary School is.
This is where we get our first bit, like flashback bit, as she gets into the classroom and she's going through. She finds the desk with the handprints on it that read "witch" carved into it. Opening it up to find that it is Alessa Gillespie's desk. And does she find the other picture in the desk itself that leads her? Is it the
No, this is yeah, she finds the desk and then the little booklet with Alyssa's name on it, and then she sees Alyssa like in the doorway running, and she chases after that.
so yeah, she follows the shadow of, well, she follows Alessa to the bathroom, as you said, finds Colin with, I guess the what it did, I don't know, it's blood? Is it written in blood?
Oh, I have no clue what was written in, but it's just like I double dare you and all this
Yeah, I
other
dare
stuff,
you,
and
I
he's
double
all
dare
like
you.
mangled in barbed wire and has something like sticking out of his mouth.
And it is apparently very naked. Which Rose, I guess, sees. I don't know. She approaches it. She takes the dare.
I think it's kind of the text because not only does it say I double dare you, but it has a bunch of like arrows
Arrows.
pointing.
Right, right.
So that's when she like takes the thing out of his mouth, and it's basically like a part of a hotel key,
Yeah, the
and
Grand Hotel.
then that's when the sirens, or no, she like pokes her head out of the door and she sees like the miners, and they're all trying to get in after her, but then like the sirens start going off again, and then that's when it goes back to the hell world, and then dear old Colin comes back to life with his weird tongue motion.
Yeah, he's like scorpioned
Um,
over and doing a whole lot of licking and
oh, a whole lot.
a whole lot. I did want to
Which,
mention. Oh,
yeah, well, I was just gonna say, like, just not to kind of gloss over the scene, but it's really, really cool. Like when the sirens go off, and then like the rundown school just kind of melts away, and then it becomes like the hell world version of the school, and it's all like what, like metal, mechanical,
right.
very dingy kind of feel, and it's
The way the
just the transition of how like they show the walls and everything else. It was really, really cool how they did it.
yeah, the way the bathroom stalls kind of like turn into the wire framework, essentially metal framework.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's the transition between normal and hell world is it's very cool. Did a great job. I guess I feel like the CG was on point for that, but maybe it's just because it was
Oh,
very
definitely.
uh kind of the particle effects, small details. Like maybe that's why it was. It wasn't like a big blob of something, but no, it was really good. The transitions were fantastic. Um, I had to wonder about the canary with the miners. Uh,
I think because like even I know we'll get to a little later, but like I think the birds kind of symbolize
shit's about to go
the
down.
when the world shifts.
'Cause I was wondering if
Like
it was.
from like yeah, I think the bird just kind of signifies like when that shift is about to happen.
I was.
Because once that bird starts going crazy, the miners just hightail it
Yeah.
out of there.
I mean, we do see that later
Then
on. We do see a whole lot of birds going a whole lot of
yeah.
crazy. Um,
And then that's like when the townspeople know to like kind of get the safety.
See, I was wondering if it was there for just to pick out the fumes, since the town is full of spots with fumes, I guess, that can kill you. Officer Gucci
Well,
tells
they do
us.
say like animals can sense danger
Right,
before it
right.
actually happens. So that might
Whatever
have
the
something to do
reason
with
for
it.
it is.
And then this is where we get the weird cockroaches with human faces.
Yes. We get the introduction of Pyramid Head, along with a flood of cockroach scarab things that have really weird, gross, human-esque faces. And they may be the one thing that bothers me the most in the movie. Oh man. Uh, yeah. Colin was a really great addition. And now kind of sitting and like chatting with you while we were watching it and whatnot, I can see where he would fit, because I'd mentioned, like, the themes of Silent Hill are people being tormented and punished and judged for their sins and whatnot. And I was wondering why, what is specific to Rose. What is her punishment? What do these monsters have to do with her specifically? And you were right. The monsters themselves are the tormented. They're the
Yeah,
ones that have been
because
punished and the ones that are used to punish.
not to like spoil the rest of the movie, but Rose does end up being kind of like the because Alessa is basically, again, spoiler alert, is the one giving her all these clues to end up, because she's kind of like I guess kind of like the handpicked one, since she has Sharon as her daughter, who looks just like Alessa, kind of the chosen one to kind of shed a light on what really happened to her.
Motherhood
So
is a major theme in this film.
yeah,
And
big
that
time.
that is actually kind of a recurring theme in the overall lore of Silent Hill as well. So I can see where that fits in and pick out those points more down the line as well, involving the demon and whatnot. Shit, where were we?
Oh, well, this is where we see Pyramid Head for the first time, and he
Yes,
kind of
we get our introduction.
chases Rose, and then she ends up falling out of a window to like I guess like the courtyard of the school. And
Really
then this is
ungracefully.
yeah, very ungraceful fall. But I know you were saying like skipping over the Chris parts just because they're kind of like the B-roll of the movie or whatever you want to call it. But the actual transition is pretty cool here because they're both in the school at the same time, but
Yeah,
Rose is kind of in the Silent Hill hell world, and Chris is actually like in the actual world that everybody else is in. And they're kind of walking through the same part of the school at the same time. Like they're both in the courtyard at the same time. And then she, from the courtyard kind of runs into a building, and then Chris kind of like senses her, and you get the transition from both worlds,
yeah,
which is I thought was kind of a cool little scene because they could kind of sense each other even though they're not in the same, I guess, plane
right.
would be the appropriate word for that.
Yeah. No, like there's Chris's reasoning for being in this film, aside from the plot twist at the end, it is there for the emotional effect, I suppose, and they do a
Yeah.
really good job, like with those transitions back and forth. Like that was really good, and there's they do it later on in the film as well. So yeah, I'll give him his credit. I'll give him his reason for being there, I guess. But no, it was really cool. That was a great passing scene. And, like catches a whiff of her perfume or whatever, and
Hmm.
to which Gucci forces him to put his face mask back on, even though I don't think those are I don't think those are tested for burning coal vapor or fumes. But yeah, Pyramid Head bursts out into the courtyard with all of his scarab buddies. We're looking for those tootsies, but they keep them buried in bugs.
They do.
They really do. Rose, she pretty much just collapses at this point.
Well, no,
I think
this is
she's
where
gotten
Sybil grabs her
grabs her off the ground.
and yeah, pretty much grabs her and drags her into like the boiler room, and then takes the handcuffs off of her from when she arrested her earlier. And then this is when Pyramid Head starts really cool fucking scene too,
Yeah.
because they kind of bar the door closed, and then he takes his big like what 12-foot fucking sword
I mean,
and
it's
just
a
like cuts through
knife.
the door like fucking butter, and just tries to attack him the whole time. And then like the little I think this is where you get like the actual close up of the cockroach with the human
Yeah.
face on it, which was it's a jarring if you're not ready for it.
It's like the first one that falls through.
Yeah, and then he's trying to like Pyramid Head's trying to open the door, and Sybil like wastes the whole mag on him and only hits him like 2 to 3 times at close range. I'm like, yes, son, cop you are.
Right. This is after reloading and saying last magazine.
This is my last mag. And then
Real
the
good
whole
use of
world
it.
kind of reverts back to like I guess Rose's version of Silent Hill, not the Hell world.
Mm-hmm. Plain Jane, Purgatory, Silent Hill. This scene with the knife coming through the door, and I don't know if that was a practical effect or if it was CG. It looked like a practical effect for parts of it, so I'm wondering if it was a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Either way, really
Probably.
good, fun scene. Just small spaces and big sword. But yeah, ends up shooting him in the arm, and he backs out. And has Chris already been in? Has he already broken in and looked at the records at this point?
No, because this is when Gucci, like, basically they leave the school, and then that's what he kind of escorts them back, um back out of Silent Hill, and then that's when he's on the phone trying to get like public records and all
Yeah,
that
so when
stuff.
he's leaving the scene, and
Yeah.
yes, then the scene that follows, well, no, that it rolls into, we get no. Before we do that, he swears at the operator and hangs up, and it goes back to Rose and Sybil, going to the Grand Hotel,
Yeah.
which
And this
is
is where they meet Anna
Anna, yeah,
throwing
who
rocks at Dyla.
yeah, they get her to stop throwing the rocks at Dahlia, and they start asking questions. Rose asks about her daughter. They get a little bit of exposition out of Anna about the cult, the church, whatever you want to call
Church.
them. Because Rose asks about the symbol because it's on the floor, it's on the building, all the
Then
buildings she's been through.
then we get the stupid the elder of my
The
elders.
elder of my elders.
They're all fucking elders. Just call them fucking ancients or
Right.
something. Come on.
You need
Like,
a new
stop
word.
talking like a 2-year-old, please.
Or less. And
But yeah, that's when Sybil kind of finds the little like mail slots for each room and finds
Yeah.
the picture in the room 111 mail slot.
And I'm assuming that's also where the other stone key piece is.
I think they find it in the
Or
room,
they
isn't
find
it?
they find it in the room. Fair enough. I
believe
wasn't sure if she
so.
found it
Something
in
like-
the letterbox or not, but okay. But yes, Rose asked where they got it, where she got it, what room she got it from. They established, well, we got to go to room 111 then. She's already taken the knife away from Anna at this point, I
Yeah, 'cause
believe.
she literally took it from her. It's like, I'm keeping this.
Right? Like, straight jacked the girl's knife. Maybe that's why she kept following them. She just wanted her knife back. Like, I understand. But it cuts back to Chris, who is, I don't know what Chris does for a living, but he's entirely too comfortable and
Breaking into
knowledgeable about
places.
breaking and entering.
Because this is where he breaks into the records.
Yeah, breaks into
the town
archives.
records.
And finds what he's looking for in a bunch of burned out, kind of look like waterlogged boxes as well.
Mhm. Well, I mean, it was the Silent Hill records that were in
In a
the fire
fire.
of the town.
Yeah.
And that's when he finds the picture of Alessa, who looks just like Sharon.
Right. Does he get the phone number for the
No, he gets
orphanage from
the
that?
address of the orphanage.
The address of the
from
orphanage that.
yeah.
Okay. But yeah, he gets, I guess, what information he wants, and then he dips out. We cut back to Rose, who with Sybil and Anna, looking for the room, walking down this hallway, shining a light. Oh, speaking of lights, I think it was about at this
I was
fucking
waiting
point.
for this to come up.
Complete derailment here, guys. Okay, so I'm sitting here, I'm watching, I've got my headphones on, because I do all my work in one station, including my watchings and everything. I could hear the flashlight every time it faced the camera as a high-pitched squeal. And it was at this point that I discovered this fact, because I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I realized it was only when the flashlight was facing the camera.
Just pointing straight at the camera.
I
Yeah.
could
didn't
audibly
a thing.
hear a ringing. I don't know if this
I'm
is
blaming
the
it on
most,
the tinnitus.
right? I don't know if this is like the most useless superpower in the world, or I don't know what does that, but I could fucking hear it. And I sat and I listened to the light every time it came on screen. I could tell when it was and wasn't without looking. Anyway, shining the flashlight down the hallway. Thank you for bearing with me. They continue on. Rose stops at a picture as Sybil keeps looking for the room and realizes, oh, we're at room 113 now. And Anna gives us some exposition about the
elder
the
of
history
her
of the elders,
elders.
yes, and their little church group.
I am
And
not gonna get over that. I am not gonna get over that. It was the dumb. It was just like a fucking 2-year-old.
it's really bad. And that's when Rose establishes that that's where the door is. She pulls out the long knife and cuts a nice little triangle out of it. And sure enough, there's room 111. Now, when they go into the room, it's not much. It's not an actual room, but there is a hole in the wall, essentially.
That kind of goes over to like the next building, and they kind of like hop. And this is where tragically Rose loses
Drops the
Anna's
knife. How does that even happen? But Rose starts seeing Alessa or Sharon, because she's still looking for Sharon at this point, and begins following, getting ahead of everybody, maneuvering an
she gets
obstacle course.
real fucking brave, because she's not even testing these little like loose, I don't even
flimsy,
know what you call
rusted
them.
metal beams.
Yeah, it doesn't even test if they hold her weight or not. She just hops right on one after the next, all the way over to Alessa.
Who
On
gives us
your favorite line.
stupidest fucking, she gives her this little speech, and then what was it? Look, I'm burning.
And she just holds out her hands, I'm burning, and then just catches on fire.
And then it's gone. And just like the demonstration of this is fucking stupid. I hated it. I don't know why it was there, and it was just stupid. It was bad lines, it was bad delivery, it was bad writing. It was a bad scene. I hated it. Sybil arrives, finally catches up, and is safer than Rose in this instance, by actually pulling on a cable and testing out the weight before swinging it over and having Rose swing back to her.
And then this is the other part where like the birds outside are going crazy
going
again, and then that's when they know the sirens are about to go off. So Anna says they need to go to the church, and so Sybil and Rose follow her to the church, and then that's when they see like all the other townspeople running towards the church as well.
Right, and we get the little flash as Rose looks up and sees the rooftop and the holy symbol, quote unquote, on top. And we get a flash of the crayon drawing of the same. And Dahlia shows up here as well, trying to convince them to not follow the group inside, that, you know, calling them liars and this, that, and the other, and that they're doomed. And
typical doomsday, with the bell and the little cardboard with the signage.
But I mean, she's right. Like, she's not wrong. She's been safe out amongst the monsters, of course. But they end up going in. Anna stays back stupidly to keep throwing rocks at Dahlia for whatever reason, as Pyramid Head materializes, which I didn't know that was... It seemed
like, yeah, Dahlia just kind of points, and then he just shows up.
He just shows up. I didn't know that, you know, Pyramid Head could materialize. I thought he was just kind of a physical thing that just moved about.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure, isn't it like in the second game, he just like follows you around throughout the whole game? Like you can't do anything about it or kill him or anything like that. He just follows you from like, oh my god, that is the worst in Resident Evil. Fucking Mr. X in the first one.
Right.
Fuck that man. But anyways, not to get sidetracked anymore, but yeah. I think it was like the second game where he just follows you. He just shows up at like the most random places and follows you around, and you can't do anything about it except for running away from him.
Right. Cannot confirm. I do not actually know. We're gonna have to do a sit down, play some Silent Hills.
I mean, they do have the remake of the second one coming out. I guess for the first year it's only on PlayStation, then it'll be on other platforms.
That's a
Yeah.
whole other bullshit. We will get into one day eventually, maybe somehow, when this program becomes a game rant podcast. Who knows? But yeah. Hell on a pogo stick. They get inside. Everybody's
Well, no,
panicked.
well, yeah, I was gonna say
I
you're
am
almost
skipping
skipping
a really good kill. Yeah, because
'cause this is when
I got
Pyramid Head,
sidetracked.
when he just appears,
As
picks up Anna,
oh,
rips her clothes off,
well, carries her
rips her
upstairs first as
skins
a
off.
demonstration.
Oh
Carries her
yeah,
up right in
rips her
front of the
skin
doors.
off, and then with just the blood on his hand, just flings it at Rose and Sybil just as the door is closing and just covered in blood after that.
Really
Not gonna
great.
lie, mwah, chef's kiss on that kill.
It's really great. Yeah, I was gonna say the few kills we get, and then I remembered. Oh yeah, never mind.
Oh no, they save it for the end.
Yeah, it ramps up. Uh, But they get inside, and everybody's ready to attack Rose. They're calling her a witch, yada yada. Sybil fires the gun in the air to kind of disperse the crowd.
On her last mag, by
On
the
her
way,
last
people, the
magazine, yeah.
last mag.
I mean, that was her last bullet too. I think like that
I
was
believe
it.
so.
Christabella. We get the introduction to Christabella, the leader of the church, who steps forward to assure them that what happened to Anna was not the fault of the people, Rose and Sybil. Gets everybody together. They do a little prayer session. There's a quote there declaring that those whose names are not written in the book of life shall burn in the lake of fire. We get a cut back to Chris, who is inside the orphanage talking to a nun. I forget her name. She wasn't a very big character.
No, not at all. I think he just calls her sister the whole time. Anyways, I don't even think he even refers to her by an actual
right.
name.
There's no name there. It starts getting a little rough with her because she won't give him any information about it. Everybody's real tight-lipped about what happened in Silent Hill 30 years ago. Starts getting a little handsy
I don't
with
even
her.
think they knew like the full details of what actually happened.
I mean, Gucci seems to know enough.
True.
He does. He sits Chris down for a talking to. But that actually happens pretty much here because Gucci walks in, breaks up Chris's little handsy operation on the nun, and then takes him for a sit. Does he handcuff him at this point?
Yeah,
Yes.
he handcuffs him and kind of sits him down in like a little interrogation room, and then kind of vaguely tells him about like the history of Silent Hill, and then kind of shows the burns on his hands from, but he doesn't really explain what any of that is, and then pretty much tells Chris to just go home, and he drives him to the edge of town and tells
Right,
him to
the
go
send
home,
off.
and then that's kind of the last we see of Chris for now.
Yeah, System Down shows like at this point he does say, and what those people did to that girl was awful and da 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 da. You get the idea that he had involvement, and then he shows the burns on his hands. Yeah, sends Chris home and cuts us back to Silent Hill, where Christabel is explaining to Rose that she needs to have faith. In the eyes of a child, a mother is God, which gets parroted back eventually. Rose wants to find Sharon, and Christabella agrees to allow her to go to what is the heart of something, or the heart of darkness, or something of that nature, to meet with the demon.
Like where the demon resides.
Right. And we get a map memorization session, which sure as hell we have done it on controls. But she gets herself ready. Sybil doesn't try to talk her out of it necessarily. but
Well,
does
Rose pretty
inform
much
her that
said,
like they're sending you to die.
yeah, but then Rose even says like you don't have to do this with me, like and all this other stuff,
Right.
and then they end up both going.
Do they both go down?
Well, they both go to the hospital.
Yes, yes. They do both end up going to the hospital.
But then like when they're in the hospital, that's when what's her name? Christabella finally opens up Rose's locket to see Sharon in there
Yeah.
and realizes she looks just like Alessa and basically calling her, a witch and all that. And that's when Sybil kind of forces Rose into the elevator
Right.
and
Sends her
just,
down.
yeah, sends her down and, because she's holding a gun to the church people. And then click, click. Oh shit, I wasted my last mag shooting the bullets up in the air at the church and then
Right.
gets the shit beat out of her.
Yeah. Real unfortunate that she seemed to forget that she used all her ammo. Um meanwhile, uh meanwhile, Rose has descended about 40 floors in a minute, according to the summary. Um but she's on her way down, heading towards A ward, or finds herself in the A ward. She has to go down one more
Yeah,
floor.
because
Yeah.
all of them were like it was like 313A, then 21 something A, and then because she's trying to find the what was it like the B1 something A.
Yeah. Numbers.
Yeah,
This is
exactly.
when we get
Who needs them?
exactly. We get hit with we get hit with a another Silent Hill staple as she finds herself in a room full of unnecessarily sexy nurse monsters who are attracted to her light. She kills the light and has to make
Yeah,
her way
because
through them
they're
slowly.
blind, right? So they only go by like
Yeah.
sounds and
I
well,
mean,
when the flashlight was actually on them because they can sense the light, but like they're more going off of sound more than anything else.
I don't actually know. I assume they're blind. Yeah.
Because well, you can because there's like a thing like over their face. It looked like it's just like folded over skin over their
Kinda.
face to where
There's
they didn't actually have a face.
horrifying body horror grossness. Yeah. Um, it makes her way through them.
She tries
Trying.
to kind of like weave through them and everything, and then
I couldn't do it.
one just takes a wild swing at her. She ducks and ends up like just getting the jugular of another nurse, and then that's when they kind of all just start attacking each other, trying to attack her.
It's like dropping a nut into a pile of mouse traps. It's just, everything starts going off.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the
Uh,
best way to put it.
and she manages to make it through by crawling. I couldn't do it. I'd be dead. I'm sorry. Like I said while we were watching, I'd make a run at it and try to, do a nice little slide through. Nah, I'd be dead. Um, but she kills the light, gets through. Once she's on the other side, she turns on the light, and makes a run for it. They're all attracted. They gather around. Easy peasy. From there we
That's where she opens the door to
get
where
flashbang.
Alessa is.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say from
yeah.
here we get flashbanged. Alessa lets her know, I'm gonna show you the truth. And we get the longest flashback sequence of this, pretty much narrating what happened to Alessa after she'd been tortured and bullied, ran to the bathroom where she met
Yeah,
the.
so I do have just one question here
Mhm.
since you've seen this more than I have recently. So was Alessa only labeled as like a witch because she didn't have a father?
He, I think that
Is
is the
that's what
initial
it made it
thing, yeah,
sound like.
because
And that's what got her like picked on. That's what got her like tortured, and that's what got her. Then she got fucking raped by Colin.
Dahlia
And then
couldn't name
like,
her a
well,
father.
yeah. That's what got her labeled as a witch and then tortured, and well, I know we're getting into what actually happens here in a minute, but that's what got her labeled as that. It's because she didn't have a dad.
Yeah, she didn't have a dad. She was born out of wedlock. Her mother was a whore. I don't know. But yeah, she's labeled as a witch,
Okay.
and
I was
yeah,
just making sure I had that part right.
I guess that is
Because
the long and
that's
short of
all I
it.
could
She just
really,
doesn't have a
yeah, I was gonna
dad.
say that was the only thing I could really pick up from that was like she was labeled a witch and picked on and tortured and everything else because she just didn't, because she, her, her mom couldn't name the father.
Right. So she was a bastard child, and I guess that's evil. I don't know. Um, uh, shit. But yeah, we get this whole flashback sequence and the whole thing with Colin, and uh, pretty much Christabella says that in order for the sin to be purged, they have to get rid of it for purity to be
Yeah,
restored. They have to get rid of
she said they
the
have to
sin.
get rid of the sin, not the sinner, and the sin
Yeah.
is Alessa.
Yes, being born out of wedlock, I guess. To which they go ahead to burn her, or cook her. I don't, it's kind of on a
Yeah,
grill. Um,
they definitely cooked her.
to which it swings, it breaks, it knocks over the uh
Fire pit.
Yeah, fire pit. Um, knocks over the fire pit, causes the big fire. Alessa is burned horribly.
Still alive, even though
Still alive.
she's definitely crispy.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And she's talking about how she hurt people that cared about, there were good people that cared and wanted to help. And
Which one
that's when
was
we see,
Detective Gucci?
yeah, we see Gucci carrying her out. Uh, and she refers to it, and it is Lisa, actually, not Mary, but Lisa the nurse. So that was her in this, which is interesting the way they introduced her and the story they gave her. But it comes back faded. I guess not fades from a flashbang. I don't know what you do from a flashbang, but it
Well,
stops
they
being a
were.
flashbang.
I mean, because they had Alyssa in the hospital, and that's when
Mhm.
like she started like saying like she was not only like hurt and burned and all that, but she started to like hate everybody
Yeah,
in the town and all that, and then that's when like the demon, I don't even know, never really gave the demon a name,
no,
and kind of like went kind of gave her like the power and all that. They kind of became one, and then that's how like she started like kind of cursing the whole town.
turning the town into her living nightmare. Yeah, and we speaking of the name, almost immediately after that, once the flashbang clears and whatnot, and Rose asks her what her name is. She says, "I have many names." So
Yeah, she was like the dark side of Alyssa, and
right
then you
now, I'm
see
the darkness and the less.
actual Alyssa, who is what, 30? Yeah, 30 years old
Mm,
in the bed.
well, like probably in her 40s by this point, because she's between 8 to 10 when she got
Yeah.
torched, and it's been 30 years since. She's in her 40s as a very horrifically burned individual.
And then, yeah, then that's when they reveal that Sharon, well, she says Sharon is the last representation of goodness in Alyssa, which basically Sharon was Alyssa's daughter that somehow lived by being after being cooked. But I guess there are miracles everywhere. Oh, and then that's where they show basically the demon Alyssa dropping off Sharon at the orphanage, and then
Mm,
that's how Chris and Rose ends up adopting Sharon and starts this whole thing. And then this is basically where Rose asks Alyssa like, "What do you want me to do?" And then she goes on like, just basically tell the townspeople the truth, and that's when she like goes inside of Rose, and then
Again,
we go back to the church, right?
yeah.
Because
That is
this is
also
the other little sacrifice scene.
right. The scene where the demon absorbs itself into Rose's body is also another weirdly kind of motherly theme.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, because she kind of like almost looks like she's like going into her womb,
right.
kind
It's
of thing.
almost a return to the womb, and then later a rebirth of sorts. Yeah. Um, we do get, I guess, Chris being dropped off at his car, and sent off out of town. Where he's telling Gucci that I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back with with the people who can do something about this, or the people who are better equipped for it than I am, or yada yada yada. And then it cuts back to the church during the day. Sybil, who we thought might be dead, who was beaten within an inch of her life, is tied up on a large wooden like ladder rack system, as they are completing their new fire pit below. Meanwhile, Sybil is calling. I believe Sybil's calling out to Sharon. Let her know your mom's coming. Your mom's gonna help you. Da 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 da. And in Christabella pretty much gets the show running. They get the fire going and they start lowering Sybil down, which is a
And you get
very
the
anticlimactic. It's an awesome death, but it's a very
you get it
anticlimactic
close up on
death.
her face, slowly melting away. But yeah, it is very
It's very
anticlimactic.
quiet. She gets all the
It really
yelling
is.
out before she's getting burned, and then she's mostly stoic throughout the process of being burned, and it's a
Yeah.
real quiet death. Really good, but I don't know if it's my favorite here, but we'll talk about that later too.
Then this is also the part because they tie Sharon up on the other ladder because they're
Mhm.
going to do the same thing to Sharon because, burning the first kid didn't work. Definitely got to burn the second kid
As we
because
said,
that's how these things work. And
if at
then just
first you
before they
don't succeed, burn another child. It's established rule. Anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
like you're good because that was amazing. And then this is where Rose just kind of appears at the front and at the front door, and this is one example of why I do not like this actress because this whole part when she's kind of just yelling at the townsfolk, you could just tell she's reading a script,
Right.
and it just does not sound, I guess, I don't want to say believable, but it doesn't sound like, I don't want to say heartfelt either, but it literally sounds like she's standing in front of a classroom reading actually having the script in hand, reading it. And I apologize to her, but I just do not like her in movies at all. I don't think she's like, that great of an actress, but that's just my dumb opinion, I'm sure.
Mm, I don't know. I don't know. Nobody in this movie could act. You know what? Gucci could act. Gucci acted the hell. Maybe, possibly, whatever. There's something I liked about this scene when she does go into the doors. The light coming from outside. It's pretty much just a bright, like very false, almost fluorescent kind of lighting. I don't know if there's any symbology in that. Her appearing in this dark room with this bright silver light rushing in behind her, but pretty cool. But yes, from there she does go on this long shouting speech about all the bad things they've done.
And then as she's walking through the crowd, she gets smacked in the face and then keeps
Yeah,
walking through the crowd, gets punched, sucker punched right in the fucking nose, and then just gets up and walks through the crowd.
she's being a real badass. Like the first smack and then the follow up is just pure downward sucker punching. Um, But yeah, and at this point, Christabella, having it up to here with the bullshit, runs a dagger through her chest, which is her last mistake, as when the blood from the dagger drips onto the floor. Oh, when she stabbed her, and you could see it come out the back end, and then it disappears.
Oh yeah,
I still got
because you had a comment
I'm
on
still
that, too.
curious about that. I want to know if that's just a leftover from like the prop stabbing, like, oh, it's popping out on the other side of her armpit or something, and just they didn't edit it out. I don't know. But yes, as the blood droplet hits the floor, blackness begins spreading through the wood, and everything starts getting real funny real fast. The floor starts crumbling in.
Because I don't know, sorry to cut you off.
no,
I don't know
continue.
if we mentioned it before, but like inside the church was like the last like safe haven for the townspeople because
Yes.
the demon Alessa's like demon self couldn't actually penetrate the church at all. That's why she had to go inside of Rose because Rose could get her in because she couldn't get in on her own. I don't think we mentioned that part of it.
Yeah, we didn't mention that, but their faith had actually locked her out. The only thing it did for them was keep her out of that church. But yes, Rose is standing in front of the pit that's opened up behind her as barbed wire begins weaving out.
It was a really cool scene too.
It's a really good fucking scene. This whole end climax is pretty damn rad. But yes, the barbed wire rising up from behind her, and then the bed rises up behind her, and burned up Alessa, barbed wire out in the bed, menacing as hell, begins wreaking havoc on the entire room. Everybody dying. The demon was good about keeping her deal. You know, she got in, she healed up Rose's wound, and then she let Rose go save her daughter. Big kills that we get here, because pretty much the whole room's fucked. I think the only big kills, featured kills per se, Christabella, was it the long-haired dude that gets like completely wrapped and just like squish shredded through the barbed wire? I believe it was the long-haired dude.
Because that was the only other like real big one. Because everybody else was just kind of getting like stabbed and all that stuff.
Right. Then the one guy that Rose puts the dagger through his chin up into his brain, which pretty good.
But there was one good part, like the guy you were talking about, he was about ready to attack Rose, and then all of a sudden like the barbed wire comes and like, you know, takes him out, and then you see Alessa like looking over at Rose like, yo, I got you.
I got you.
It was kind of a funny little moment to me.
That side glance and smile, which is real fucking eerie. But yes, completely destroying the room. Christabella gets snatched up, lifted into the air by her wrists. Her ankles are bound, and her legs are wedged open.
If you've seen the original Evil Dead, the wood scene is the best way to describe this one.
I'm gonna call it a pleasant homage to getting her organs grinded. But it weaves up between the nethers and comes out every direction of her torso, ultimately ripping her in half in a very gruesome fashion. The guy who gets shredded when Alessa saves Rose. I love the blood splatter on that. It just hits Rose across the whole face and body, and she just looks stunned for a moment. It's like, yeah, that's a legitimate response. I feel like I've been hit in the face with liquid before, and that's how I looked. Very relatable. But yes, meanwhile, she gets Sharon down. She's holding her close as they don't really get to make an escape. Everything's kind of chaos, so she's just kind of holding her close. And she opens her eyes for a brief moment to have Alessa in her face, demon Alessa in her face, barbed wire weaving everywhere. And I don't know if demon Alessa knocks her out for her own good or what, but
or it could just be like the sheer shock of seeing her.
I was gonna say, or shock, yeah.
It's one or the other. I guess it's open to interpretation.
Right. She's out, and the scene kind of flashes over here to where Sharon and Rose are sitting on the floor Rose uncovers Sharon's face, and Sharon's got like 1,000-yard stare going on. The face of true trauma. But it gathers up the kiddo and determines we're going home. Takes her back to the car. They get in. She gets it started. On faith alone, she drives off the edge of the earth, and the bridge manifests itself beneath the car. And she calls Chris to let him know, hey, we're coming home. Meanwhile, Chris has been at home this whole time, just very sad. So when he hears the phone ringing, he rushes downstairs, rushes for it, only to get the static and feedback that is all too common of Silent Hill related things. And Rose is driving home through a never-ending fog. Even as they pull up to the house, it is still very foggy and gross. And we get a flash over to Chris sleeping on or napping on the couch. Bright, broad daylight, raining outside, as opposed to Rose and Sharon approaching and entering the door. Even the inside of the house has like a fogginess to it. And they take to the living room and sit in a chair facing the couch that Chris is sleeping on. Only it's an empty couch. Chris wakes up, sensing, I guess, his wife, sensing something, and rushes to the front door where it's been left open, looking outside, and no cars, no nothing. And that's pretty much it. It fades out. And we get credits. Did you have anything else to add in there?
No, that pretty much covers the whole movie, and yeah.
Yeah, the long and short and long of it. Kind of a weird ending. The twist ending. They're still in Silent Hill. They can't escape it. Pretty much they're dead, I'm convinced. Always have been.
Just a
since
different
the car
point
accident.
of existence.
Yeah. In the end, feelings after watching the movie.
Like I said, before watching it, I don't remember liking the movie, but then like watching it today, I think kind of maybe a little more fresh perspective because it's been a while since I've seen it. I'm like, this is actually a really good movie. Yeah, and I, except for, some of the actors, I've already shamed her enough
We have
in this recording. It's like I said, the some of the camera shots where it feels like it's a fixed camera in in the old 90s survivor horror games. I really, really enjoyed. I thought that was like a really, really cool nod to the video game. They have a bunch of it's kind of not one particular Silent Hill game, kind of the whole series, but it kind of puts at least the first two games like heavily into the movie, which I thought was really, really good too.
Oh yeah, it's a big meshing of that of the two, with a lot of its own stuff kind of in there. But yeah, no, it's really good. I liked it a lot. Even though just the acting is atrocious. I don't know if the scripting was atrocious. Like some of the dialogue, not the dialogue, but yeah, some of the dialogue was a bit rough, and I don't feel like anything could have saved it. But the acting was hard. Yeah, no, but still, I like the movie. I'm not gonna not like the movie. It holds a piece of me, from my youth and my love of at least the lore of the franchise. And Pyramid Head's cool. Anyway, we can go ahead. We can hop into our ending segments of our instant reslay, where we're going to go over our favorite deaths, or kills, our least favorite, the most senseless and pointless, our favorite scenes of the movies, etc., 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 and whatever we decide to tack on in the end, because it's always changing. Would you like to carry us off?
Sure. So we're going with what, favorite kill?
Favorite kill in this? The best in your
Well,
opinion?
since I'm pretty sure I know what yours is, I'm gonna go with the initial one that I loved, which was Pyramid Head killing Anna and just lifting her up, walking her up the stairs, ripping the clothes off, ripping the skin off, and then just flinging blood at anyone and everyone. And it was so good.
It's so good. Um, yeah, I guess you already do know mine. I, I was gonna say I can read off the people that quote unquote die here. We have the townspersons who are seen burned, the townsperson who's seen hanged, the armless man who was shot, Anna, skin ripped off by Pyramid Head, the guard who was beaten to death, two nurses who killed each other. I don't know if that really counts. Uh, Alessa burned, the nurse who
She
presumably
didn't
died
die
in some
though.
way. She
Alyssa didn't die though.
didn't. I
She was still alive.
I don't know where that's being counted or why that's being counted.
Hmm.
Let's see. The nurse who presumably died in some way, Christabella, who was ripped in half, and 7 cult members. Um, of course, I'm going with Christabella. That's like the biggest, best, splashiest death in the film. But if I had to pick one that wasn't that, I'd go with the guy who gets shredded and the blood splatter from that, where Alessa
Yeah.
gives that weird smile. Because, like I said, I love the blood splatter on that. That was a fun, like, little shocked look she gave. um, but yeah. Least favorite or most unnecessary? I don't know
I'm
that
just
this
gonna
one
go with
had one.
least favorite, and I'm gonna go with Sybil just because they could have did way more with it.
They could have, yeah. I mean, it was still good.
It was
Um,
good, but it was yeah. I feel like they could have made it bigger.
yeah. For least favorite or most unnecessary, I almost feel like I have to go with Sybil too because there's not a lot to go off
Yeah,
there.
everybody else fucking deserved it.
Yeah, everybody really did. I mean, yeah, no, Sybil didn't deserve it. She just died a hero. Actually, she didn't die a hero. She just died. Anyway,
Yeah, she just kind of died.
yeah, it was meaningless. It was pointless. Scene. Take whatever you want, even if you
So
think it's the one I'll pick.
yeah, no, I got a couple here because so the bathroom scene when the world just kind of melts away into like the hell world. That transition of like when they have like the close up on the walls and then they're just kind of showing it all like melting away and all that stuff and then you see Colin coming out of the bathroom stall. That was really
That was really
cool.
cool. Yeah.
And then the only other one I could think of is the nurses because the nurses are so iconic in Silent Hill.
So yeah, that would be one of the ones I'd go with for sure because they are so iconic and it's really just a fun, chaotic scene.
I mean, you could even go with the Pyramid Head introduction too, because again, another iconic. Even though he doesn't play like a huge role in the game, but he is like an iconic character. Like he's so
100%,
iconic.
yeah.
Dead by Daylight brought him in as a killer.
Right. When you think Silent Hill, you think Pyramid Head, even
You
though,
think Pyramid Head,
he might
yes.
not be in all of them. He might only be in one of them, but you still think Pyramid Head.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, his introduction was really good. Uh, this is hard because there are a lot of scenes that I appreciate. When it's following her through the city on her first initial like entering of it, and it's kind of following her through the alleys, and it's like overhead shots, and like the camera flips
Oh,
around, and
like the fixed camera spots.
like when she's walking down the alley, and it raises up over her to
Hmm.
follow her. Yeah, I really again, it's kind of like with you liking the transitions and everything. It's like yeah, these kind of fixed camera angle shots where it flips around with the character moving through the scene. I really like those, but I am gonna go with Alessa Rising. Um,
Yeah. See, I didn't want to mention that one because I had a feeling that was the one you were going to talk about.
I told you, just take it. Just take it. I can adapt. But yes, that was an incredibly badass scene. Like I said, just Rose standing there covered in blood, holding the dagger as the pit opens behind her and this demon's rising out. Rad fucking scene. But yeah. Do we have any other things we want to tack on to the segments tonight?
Nothing I can think of.
Got nothing in mind at this point. It is
'cause I
after
think-
midnight.
I think with that, we can finally say that's our season finale, folks.
That's our fucking season finale. Thanks for joining us on the ride. Hey, we could go ahead.
We will
and-
have future fun little things.
Yes,
that
yes.
will be coming out as well. But yeah, that's the first season of movies.
Yep. Just because the season is done, we're going to keep doing things over the course it's going to go on the YouTube. The Spotify will be on hiatus for the time being. That is strictly where the podcast goes. But all the extra little fun things we'll be doing will go up on the YouTube. You can find us at Hobbesy Horror Screamcast Bros, or just at Hobbesy Horror on YouTube. That'll locate us as well. And across the board at Hobbesy Horror, Twitch, Jesus, Twitter/X, and Blue Sky. I don't use the other socials because I've given up. It's too many socials. You can also find us personally, myself, at that Hobbesy on Twitch/X, and also on Twitter for that Hobbesy. RJ, we can find you over on Twitter and X where?
RJWare89.
That's the place. RJ talks about sports. That's the only thing I see. Telling them what the Jaguars need for a successful game.
Yep.
I trust him. Make the guy a coach.
Yeah, they're clearly not listening to me this season so far.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Furthermore, if you want to email us any questions, comments, concerns, if you want something read on the air, we'll do that too. We don't give a shit. You can hit us up at hobbesyhorror@gmail.com.
Please, just to follow up, please answer the question. A parent kidnapping their kid, is that kidnapping?
Yeah, please get back to us
Please
on
answer.
that. We need answers. All right. Other than that, anything else? No more announce. Just check out the YouTube, look at the shorts. You give us likes or if you want. Give us follows if you like. Subscribe, hit the bell.
Give us
I don't
criticism.
know.
Give
Yeah.
us something.
Give us anything. We'll take it. We just want to know you're there. Badge. But yeah, plenty to look forward to. Thank you so much for joining us this season. Not just this episode, but the season. And if you haven't joined us for the whole season, you've got a backlog you can go through. We do the movies longer than the movies do the movies. And until next time, I guess. Oh, you know something that just felt weird? I stopped and I'm like, wait, we didn't announce the next movie. And I'm like, wait.
There is no next movie.
I
yet
know.
at
We're
the
just
moment.
I'm just so used to it. I felt its loss. Yeah, I felt its absence. But anyway, gang. Yeah, thank you so much. RJ, are you waving at the non-existent camera?
No, that's how I say hello. That's not how I say goodbye.
Oh, how do you say bye?
I don't.
Bye.